The proverbial 12 steps are the foundation of Alcoholics Anonymous' so-called recovery. And what do you think I think of them? Probably along the same lines of what I think about Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole. Stay tuned for my thoughts. Those who have followed these very new episodes, which I've been doing for only 2 months now, have realized that the author has no like for Alcoholics Anonymous. It would be safe to say I've declared war on its methods. And that is where my contention originates, their methods. For I could see if they would only wake up to their dismal success rate and alter their program to one of positive holistic recovery, they would have tremendous long-term outcomes. But the problem with AA is they largely have indoctrinated their philosophy within themselves for so long, they now resemble a cult more than a support group. That being said, not everything about the program is god-awful. The idea of reaching back to pull someone else into sobriety isn't a bad concept. Going over your story in the beginning phases of recovery could be helpful to make one understand that he did indeed live in the suburbs of Lushville shortly ago. And the idea of a step-by-step protocol for recovery could be beneficial if it was constructed with a better mindset, which is what I'm analyzing today. There are 12 steps of recovery in the AA program. Now, the problem with the cult is they become fanatical about everything. Much like a fundamentalist church whose members see the devil in every closet, there is a difference between working a program and becoming obsessed by it. The steps are supposedly to be completed in the first 6 months to a year of sobriety, but I have known AA members who go back and forth in the steps for years. This is a stark contradiction to my philosophy in the stages of recovery, which I gave in the first few episodes. I have a step-by-step process as well, but my program ends in 2 years after the protracted withdrawal phase concludes, in which I can say, continue your physically and emotionally holistic program while you continue to progress your life, and keep your contract of never touching alcohol again. It's really that simple. And the fact that I mentioned the word cure makes me forever a heretic to Alcoholics Anonymous. But the 12 steps are the core to the AA protocol. And like everything propagated by AA, if you don't agree with them, then you're doomed to reignite that old friendship with John Barleycorn. As stated, there are a few fine points in their steps, but a lot needs to be altered to aid in giving the former alcoholic a better existence now that he's sober. And let's start with them. The first step is admitting that they are powerless over alcohol and that their lives have become unmanageable. Well, sure, your life is unmanageable if you're an alcoholic, even if you're functional at your job. But the fact is, the addict was never powerless. He made a choice. I made a choice. Yes, there may have been genetic predispositions for many in my family, but the fact is I chose not to be a recreational drinker. The power was always within me. Now, would I attempt to go back now and just be a recreational drinker? Absolutely not. I brought myself to an addicted state over years. There is too much neural memory now long ingrained from those days. I know for a fact, even if I had the discipline to just drink 2 beers or a glass of wine at night, I would be fighting the urge to guzzle that case or bottle every night. Why would I want to go through that when it's easier to simply continue to abstain? But the power is mine. Always was. And I'm using that power to say no. I made the contract day 1 of sobriety, and I'm keeping it. Step 2 states, coming to realize a power greater than ourselves who can restore us to sanity. As an unspecified theist who does believe in a, quote, great designer, this step annoys me because it's shifting this mental restoration to God, whatever God in which you believe. And that is nonsense. Restoring yourself is 100% the responsibility of yourself. I'm fine with asking for strength to do so, but at the end of the day, the being that will bring you out of the abyss is the one looking at you in the mirror. Not to mention, you're just out of luck if you're an atheist. He will never be able to complete those sacred steps. But interestingly enough, I have known atheists who did find sobriety for life, which I would say proves the second step is invalid for legitimacy. The third step I will reject for the same reason I discarded the second one. Making the decision to turn our will and lives over to God as we understand Him. This sets the foundation for your future sobriety to rely on another entity once again other than the one who got you into trouble with substance abuse in the first place. Yourself. You set your plan of action to stay sober, not God. This is why many accuse AA of being a bit of a recruitment tool for Christianity, although they would deny any particular faith. However, there's a reason many of the rooms are located in churches. You don't turn yourself over to the proverbial hymn, you pray for strength if you have a God, and help yourself as with the other adage, when asking God for help, because He helps those who help themselves. And once again, sorry atheist, you now have 2 steps you can't complete. Step 4. Searching and making a fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Bravo, AA, I totally agree. This should probably be done once past phase 2, after the first 30 to 45 days pass, which are the worst of the cravings and emotional upheaval. Then do it. Look at your past and what you were as an addict. Get a clear understanding of all the stupid and depraved things you did under the influence of John Barleycorn's friendship. You can even make a written list to stick in the back corner of the closet. Pull it out one day if you ever feel the want of liquid joy again. But then you go back to the pit of my contention, AA. Step 5. Admit to God, to ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. AA, you can get bent on that one. You covered your wrongs in step 4 and that should be it. You can talk to your God about it if you want, which of course leaves the atheist out of being able to complete another step, but you don't have to tell anyone anything. You don't have to find a father confessor. It's no one's business but your own. Let's continue. We are entirely ready to have God remove deficits of character. That's step 6. Again, nonsense. You remove your own deficits. You list what is wrong with your moral character in step 4 and fix those deficits. There's a reason I have another channel debunking Christian fundamentalism, because I've seen disaster occur because their members sat around waiting for God to intervene in their lives. Pray all you want, but you remove your faults, not God. And again, sorry atheists, as you'll have to sit out this step as well. Step 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Wasn't this just covered in the above step? It's starting to sound a lot like a fundamentalist service, AA. If I were God and you requested this, I'd tell you to get to work. And you atheists can just continue to sit on the bench, I guess. Step 8. Make a list of all the persons you harmed and make amends. I do agree, but only to a point, because I've seen this get out of hand enough to be considered absurd. If there's enough physical or mental damage due to your wrong, you should make amends, whether you're an alcoholic or not. But I have seen this go as far as to try to amend every single slight insult. The smaller ones, you just let go. If you were simply rude to someone, maybe tell him you were a stupid drunk if you happen to see him down the road. If not, I'm sure he'll get over it, without you going all over town on some sort of rotten treasure hunt. In which AA proves my point again by taking the above step too far. Step 9. Make direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Nope. The major wrongs you say you're sorry for and you let it go. Quit living in the state of I'm apologetic for every misdeed. If you take this attitude, pretty soon you're going to be a professional whipping boy. People get their feelings hurt daily in this combat world. If you really hurt someone, then write it. But don't become this fanatic about rectifying every single little small ill. Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory and admit when we are wrong. When shouldn't everyone be doing that? Again, they take this to the point of absurdity. I can sum this up in simply doing the right thing and treating others as you'd have them treat you. It doesn't need to be some sort of step for recovery. Step 11 again neglects non-believers. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. How about improving yourself in all of your planes, the physical, emotional, career, and spiritual realm of knowing our place in the universe? No, AA, a better idea is to sit, waiting for God to tell us, and having no idea if it's even Him talking to us. I'll strike this step as non-helpful. Finally, step 12. Having a spiritual awakening. Because of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. No, actually what you gave sounds a great deal like the do's and don'ts I learned in Catholic 101 in my school days. You have completely left out people who don't believe in a higher power, and even Buddhist types who believe in a different type of power. And you're going to try to tell me you aren't propagating religion, AA? 7 out of the 12 steps are religious based. And the dominant religion I saw being spewed in my short experience with AA was Christianity. You say the 12 steps are the core of your program? Then make a list that the atheists or other skeptics can't even complete half. Awesome reach, AA. As you can see, there isn't really a lot of the concept of, it's your job to recreate yourself philosophy. Largely, a great deal pontificated is to let God guide you to sobriety and fix your deficits. Again, there's only one entity responsible for your deficits and your sobriety. You. Note, I'm not knocking prayer or talking to your God. I'm saying stop putting the plate of your screwed up recipe in front of him to clean. So let's contrast my program with the 12 steps. I state clearly, you only need one step. You make a contract with yourself to never touch alcohol again. That's what I did on January 22nd, 2009. I had 6 or 7 beers in me and 3 left in the refrigerator. I looked in the mirror, saw what I was, and threw the remaining 3 away. I never touched it again, no matter what happened in my life. I stepped over the line to end the friendship with John Barleycorn forever. I hoped there was a higher power at that time to help me, but knew the person responsible to not pop that bottle cap off was myself. Then I went through those first 2 phases of recovery, which last 30 to 45 days. And the rest is continued recovery to the 2-year mark of cure. After 4 months, I went to the mountains to reflect on how I got to be the state of the chronic alcoholic to begin with. I realized upon many reflections in the quiet wilderness that it all went back to teenagehood. The torment of those days created the later adult. Without the anesthetic, I could now see the deficits of character that led to that alcoholic. I didn't ask God to remove them. I began the process of fixing them myself. I did have a spiritual reinvention from 6 months to 2 years sobriety. Through a physical fitness regime, clean diet, and emotional program of daily yoga and meditation. I advanced my career, wrote books, learned how to invest, and at the 2-year mark, saw the person I was supposed to be in the universe versus the one buried in the river of hops. I knew it was my responsibility to continue the contract I signed on January 22nd, 2009. I also knew it was up to me to fix the broken pieces from that trauma of that teenagehood. The journey wasn't complete at the 2-year mark of neurochemical rebalancing cure. Over the next decade, as I continued the reinvention of self, I lost several friends from my youthful past, who I had to let go as I continued my own progression. One is a late-stage alcoholic today and will most likely be dead soon from the addiction. Another I walked away from because I can no longer look at his continued chaos, which I never noticed when years ago mine was the same. And today, I surround myself with only positive people and eliminate anyone whose aura radiates negativity. I only grow stronger year after year. I'm 80% retired now, but continue to advance in endeavors that help others recreate self, whether former alcoholic or not. I continue a high-level fitness regime and meditative program. At the time of this episode, I'm over 16 years sober. I beat alcoholism and claimed cure after 2 years because I didn't adopt the 12-step program, which propagates powerlessness and shirks responsibility for the outcome of your own life while you spend it every night in the rooms. The key to sobriety is taking that one giant step day one and then engaging in a program to reinvent yourself on all planes: the physical, emotional, career, and spiritual. You may find strength in a higher power, but this entity isn't going to carry you through towards your new life. And this is why I reject most of the 12-step program, which Alcoholics Anonymous states is the foundation of their recovery. For if this was such an effective protocol, then explain, AA, why the vast majority who enter your doors fail. And if you want some more reasons why AA is not a healthy way to advance to recovery, check out my playlist card at the end of the video. And check out my own guidebook on how to recreate your own life on all holistic planes. Reinvention of Self, How to Change Your Life and Being Forever. Link is on the video description as well as the channel page banner. And remember, you made the contract, so keep it. Be sober at sundown, and I will see you at the next sunrise.